If you are tired of making gigantic portions of soup or just tired of buying single servings, then this is the recipe for you, where I show you how to make the most creamy, delicious, oniony, and comforting loaded potato soup in a small batch. Here is all the ingredients, and this is enough for a small batch and a little bit left over if you want some for later or for lunch. I'm adding 1.5 cups of water to a pot, and I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of chicken bouillon or 2 cubes. I'm using bouillon instead of chicken stock or chicken broth because it is already more seasoned, and since this is going to be the base of the soup, you want it to be pretty flavorful. But if all you have is chicken broth or chicken stock, just make sure to add your additional seasonings like garlic powder, onion powder, and whatever other seasonings you like, rosemary, thyme. Now I'm going to fry off the bacon. This is 3 strips of thick cut bacon. Please do not walk away from this pan and let your bacon burn. You know how expensive bacon is? Please don't let it burn. So after just searing that off, I'm going to move on to my potatoes. Now you can use 1 to 2 large potatoes, about 2 to 4 medium-sized potatoes, or 4 to 5 small russet potatoes. I like russet potatoes the best. I think that goes well with what you want from the soup. So after washing them off, I'm going to poke holes in them because I'm going to be putting them in the microwave. You can peel them and then boil them until they're slightly soft, but I like the microwave method because I can walk away from it. Now make sure you poke enough holes on each side of the potatoes, because one thing life has taught me is that they will explode if you give them a reason to. Please give them a reason to explode, and they will explode, and you will be playing hot potato and having to clean your microwave from top to bottom. So after poking holes in each potato, I proceeded to put it on a microwave safe plate and put it in the microwave for 7 to 9 minutes. The next thing to tackle will be adding the heavy cream into the pot. I used 1/2 cup of heavy cream to the 1.5 cups of water, so essentially making it 2 cups of liquid in this soup. After adding it, I just stirred it up, and then now it's time to move on to the next step. I'm going to be adding 3 tablespoons of butter to a pan, and also adding 3 cloves of minced garlic, and I'm going to put it on the heat to let it cook, let the garlic get a little fragrant. So I'm going to be grating it. I also have tried it with roughly chopping it, and it still tastes good if you don't want to take the time to grate it or mince it. So I'm just going to put it on the heat and let it cook a little bit, and now I'm going to chop up some onion. If you don't like a lot of onion, then use less onion, but I love onion, and so I just sliced it, and then I roughly chopped it into some pieces, and I used about 1/3 cup of onion for this recipe. You can use a little bit more or a little bit less, again, based on your preference. This is going into your garlic and butter mixture, and you want to saute that until it's translucent. Now that your bacon is finished cooking, you're going to roughly chop it into pieces, and you're going to leave a little bit on the side so that you have enough for topping, or use bacon bits. Now that my onions are translucent, I'm adding it to the soup. At this point, I add a little bit of garlic pepper, which is garlic pepper and parsley, and then I just continue stirring. Now, the next thing to tackle is the potatoes. Usually they're easier to peel, sometimes they're a little harder. This is a true game of hot potato. Now for this section, I left them whole because I forgot, but you're supposed to chop them into cubes and then add them into your soup so that it's easier to mix. Now I'm just adding them into the soup, and I'm going to use my whisk to just break them apart into little clumps. As you can see here, I'm fighting against this soup to break up the potatoes, but it still turned out all right, and I just stirred it. Now I'm adding the bacon into the soup. This is going to soften it, and it's going to be delicious. If you leave some out, then you'll be able to have crunchy bits on top. I'm also adding the havarti cheese. This time is going to be crucial for stirring, because with the cheese you just added, you don't want it to fall to the bottom and start to burn, especially with the cream being in it. So just make sure to continuously stir until things start to incorporate and the cheese starts to melt. And last but not least, we're going to prep our chives, or green onions. So these chives are from my garden, and they are so delicious. I'm just going to roughly chop them into big pieces so I can taste the oniony flavor. Then after adding them to the soup, the last thing to be added, I just stirred it around, and I'm going to let the soup boil for a little bit longer just to incorporate all the flavors together. After adding the potatoes, I realized that it did absorb some of the salty flavor, so I did end up needing to add about a teaspoon more of salt, and that was enough. After that, I let it simmer for about 10 to 15 more minutes, and here it is. The small batch of loaded baked potato soup. In all, it makes about 1.5 cups of soup. So you can adjust the recipe to, if you need more, just add more water with the bouillon and heavy cream, and that's essentially it. I topped it off with some triple cheddar, some finely cut chives, and some pieces of bacon. And here is the loaded baked potato soup. This is the third time that I've made it just to make sure the recipe is perfect, and it is. Now, with your leftovers, the soup is going to thicken as it cools, so you may need to add some water just to bring it back to a liquidy texture again, but it does not impact the flavor at all. And I hope this video was helpful. Let me know if you're going to make this in the future, because best believe when winter comes, I'm going to be making this soup every single week. That's how much I love it. And I'm not a big fan of reeating things a lot, but this is something that I will reeat every single day if need be. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Dang, that soup was good. I think I'm gonna make me some right now just because I'm editing this video. But all in all, it took me about 45 minutes to an hour to make. And that's the end to this video. So without further ado, if you aren't having a great day, I hope you have a better one tomorrow. Don't forget to read a page of something that you enjoy, and don't be a jive turkey. Like, share, and subscribe. Or not, it's your prerogative, but thanks for watching this video anyway. I'll see you later.